and a sister to see Alice's grandfather, Edward Evans. And Edward Evans and the family of the Evans, they emigrated from Texas to Oklahoma. And we left by wagon. We left in the month of April. I don't know the date and all, but I do remember the month. And the reason we didn't leave early, my brother Sam was born December the 27th, 1902. And they were waiting for him to get old enough to travel with him. So we left in April, and we went from Yoakum, Texas to Temple, Texas. And there's where we pitched camp. And they worked on the hay field and in the oat fields for about a month. And there was my father, Albert Evans. He had 3 wagons and 12 children, and had 4 mules, 1 horse. And there was his brother, William Shepherd, Henry Shepherd, and Jesse White. That was his sister's husband. Her name was Rosie White. She was a shepherd before she was married. But my daddy was an Evans because he was the only one born to that family. His father died before he was born. And then my grandmother, her name was Harriet Shepherd, but after my father died, after the Evans died, she married to Shepherd. And there was Uncle Henry, Uncle William, and Uncle Archie. Uncle Henry, Uncle William, Uncle Archie, and Aunt Rosie, Aunt Carrie, and Aunt Mary. All of them was his half-sisters and brothers. Well, after we traveled so far to Temple, Texas, they stopped there and worked in the hayfield. And then when we left Temple, we went to Bastrop, Texas. And there's where they camped again and worked. And Cousin Barney Hilliard, a brother of this girl, Cousin Minnie's brother, he was with us. Charlie Smith was with us. We all came from Texas. And the Hilliard family, they came for no, down there where they died, down in Colbert, Oklahoma, and they lost a child. And that's where they stayed for years. They stayed down there. They didn't come any further right then. And so we traveled in until we got to Fort Worth, Texas. When we got to Fort Worth, there was a man that called himself a man catcher. And he was wanting people to work on this little KMONG railroad that runs through Wyborg, from Wyborg to Muskogee. Well, he came to the wagon yard where we were camped. We camped in the wagon yard that night. And he came there that morning wanting to see if he could get these men to come and work for it. And so they did sign up to come and work. Well, all of them, he chartered a freight car, and put the wagons, the horses, and the meat, and all the other stuff in that car. And then he had this Katie Fly, they call it, the women, and my daddy, he was the overseer of the whole bunch. Well, we came on to Wyborg on the train. We left there that evening, and when we got in Wyborg the next morning, the sun was just rising, and it was so pretty and clear and bright. And that's where they pitched camp, right down on the Arkansas River, as you go on out towards Muskogee. And they worked there on that dump, pulling that dump up to build that railroad, KMONG, they called it then. And they worked there on that dump. and the rest of us went to the field and picked cotton. Women folks did.
Listening to an interview conducted on July the 29th, 1989, in Yoakum, Texas, with Mrs. Edith Shiner McHenry. The interview was conducted by Vera Magruder, Claude and Elaine Evans. You are now about to hear an interview conducted on August the 12th, 1979, with Aunt Sarah Evans Owens. This interview was done by Charlotte and Cialis Bates. This interview will clear up many of the mysteries concerning the Evans-Shepard relationship. It will also tell about a mother and her daughter who were brought to this country from Africa on a slave ship. So listen carefully and get answers to many questions you have had about the origin of the Evans family.
And later on, after they got through with that work, we went on out to Henrietta, where my uncle was living, Henry Tippins. And that's where we stopped there. That's where we was on our way to Uncle Henry's. And we got out there. Well, then the men, for we got there the 4th day of December, 1903. And the men folks got together, and they built the first house they built was for my daddy and his family, Albert Evans and his family. They built a 2-room house, long house out of logs. They all got together and built that. And my daddy was a chimney builder. He built it out of mud and hay and stuff like that. And little trees, split little splinters, split things and build a chimney. He would build all the chimneys and then help him with the buildings. They built our house first. And they would, different people then, everybody was burning wood. And they'd pile their ashes up in great big piles. And they would give them the ashes to put on the floors after they got the house built. They would put those ashes, sprinkle them on the floor, and then wet them down with water. And they would pack down, and then they would get just as hard and slick as this. You could take your broom and just sweep them off. And lived on those dirt floors. And next they went, then there was about 5 families of them. They built 5 houses. One here, one there, and one yonder. We went to Papa's uncle, which was Henry Tippins. That was Papa's mother's brother. That's why we left Yoakum and come to Oklahoma. He was already living here. And you could come from Yoakum, Texas, from Henrietta to Yoakum, Texas, then for $15. And he would come down there sometime twice a year. And he was wanting to come here to Oklahoma. And so we came on, my dad and them, they decided that they'd come to Oklahoma. And he had 80 acres of land. I'll never forget the day that he told my mother he got $500 for that 80 acres of land. And we come on, he thought he had some money. Come on to Oklahoma. And it wasn't too long till their money was given up. Well, they all went to work again and just kind of built up again. But his mother was named Harriet Shepard. And his grandmother was named Aunt Vicey. I knew her, his mother, and I know his grandmother, my daddy.
Was that Uncle Henry Tipton?
Uncle Henry Tipton, Cousin Charlie Tipton's daddy. And my mother's mother was named Mary Shiner, and her mother was named Grandmama Ra. And When we got in Temple, Texas, coming to Oklahoma, they had stopped there to work. Well, Mama would keep in touch with her folks as she traveled. And she got a telegram like today that her mother had passed. Her mother was 108 years old. Well, in 5 days after that, she got another telegram that her grandmother was 105. She passed first, and then her mother passed in 5 days after her grandmother did. But she didn't get to go back to either one of them. And we was on our way here to Oklahoma. And my daddy's mother, she came on here. I remember her mother, but she passed before we left Texas. But my daddy's mother passed, and Orly was born 19 and 20 in October, and she died in January 1921. My daddy's mother.
What was her name?
Harriet Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Her name was Harriet Shepherd. My mother was named Sally Shine. And she had a brother named Kelly Shine. And she had an uncle, he was part Indian. His name was Vashon, Uncle Willie Vashon. That was his name. I don't know how you'd spell it anything, but that was Uncle Willie Vashon. That was my mother's brother. And so we just traveled the wagon until we got here to Oklahoma. When we got to Oklahoma, they didn't have a school here for the state children. Out of state. This was territory days. They had institutions for the native children, but the state children couldn't go. And the first school we ever went to, we was here about going on 3 years. And my daddy, Uncle Louis Jackson, Uncle Sam Shepherd, and Uncle William, they got together and started a school in the church and would have to pay the teacher. She was 8th grade student. Paid her 50 cents a head to teach the children, and she just taught November, December, and January because they wasn't able to pay anymore. Well, it went on that way for about 2 years, and then they got the petition up some way that the government hoping to build a school. And my brother Bill, he built the first school in the community where we lived at then.
Uncle Bill Evans?
He was a young man, but he built the school.
What's the name of the community?
What's the name of the
That was, they call it on the island, out from Hordsville.
Out from where?
From Hordsville.
Okay, now where is that near?
That's
there.
8 miles from Henrietta.
Oh, okay.
8 miles out from Henrietta. And he worked there and built that head was upstairs school, and Reverend Professor Richardson was our first teacher there, that the government paid. Now this other woman that taught us there for 50 cents a head, she was Reverend Hord's daughter. You might have heard of Reverend Horde. He was a very active person. I don't think she was born at that time. She wasn't born. He was very active all over the territory, and the districts where we lived and everything. And we just that way. We had to stay out of school. We didn't have school. And my mother, she would have us to come in the house and sit down once a day, give us our school lesson. She taught me how to write. I never will forget. I'd make a letter like this. She said, that won't do. I said, that ain't gonna stand up. So she taught me how to write. I would cry. I didn't know any better. Thought she was mean to me, but today I'm glad of it. Taught me how to write. And the other children, most of them had been to school before we left Texas more than I did and got to learn. But I hadn't been to school but 2 years when we left Texas. The rest of them had been, some of them. And then there was, Sam was born just before we left to come here. And then after we got here, Albert was the only one of the children that were born here in Oklahoma. He was born in Territory days. And in 1907, the 7th day of November, that's when statehood, that's what you call statehood, isn't it? That's when they cut out this territory and went into statehood. So I remember that just as good.
And Sarah, how many children came up to Oklahoma?
With me, us, 12.
Okay, what were their names?
My oldest sister was named Lily Evans. The next one was named Lucinda Evans. That was Stella's mother. And the next one was named William Evans. That was Huey's father. And the next one was named Laura Evans. That was Lisa Lucy's mother. And the next one was named Jimmy Evans. He died in 1909. He died the 9th day, he died the 13th day of November, 1909. And my daddy died the 26th, 1909. Both of them that close together. Well, the next child was Mary. And then after Mary was Ed. And after Ed was me. And then after me was Claude. And after Claude was Novella. And then Verla. And then Sam. Well, then we didn't have any more then until we got to Oklahoma, and that was Albert. He came there. There was 13 sisters and brothers.
Yeah. And Sarah, I heard that the name came from something to Evans.
Well, I heard that too, but I don't know anything about that. You know where that come from?
No.
Rayford Bruner.
Oh.
Rayford Bruner.
Okay.
I've never known anything, but my grandmother, she married Evans. She told us that Papa was Evans, and he was the only child to that, born to that union, because his father died before he was born. And then afterwards she married Shepherd. And that's where the rest of them come in. But I hadn't ever heard this.
That's what I always heard. He was the only.
Yeah.
She said that's what she heard. That he was the only Evans. Your daddy was the only Evans.
That's all I've ever known until I heard Rayford sitting down telling about the Territory Day and said the Indians stole my daddy and carried him to Texas. I don't know anything about that. But I know my grandmother told us that my daddy's mother said that she and her mother, they brought them from Africa when she was just a small child. And they landed.
Now, what was that name?
When
that came from Africa, what was the name of the one that came from Africa?
My grandmother?
Yeah.
Grandmother Harriet was Papa's mother.
That's the one that came from Africa.
Uh-huh.
What's her last name?
Harriet Duncan.
Harriet Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She wasn't married at that time. And her mother was named Grandma Vicey.
What's her last name?
I guess she must have been a Duncan. I reckon her name. They brought him over here when they were young, when she was just a child, she said.
Yeah.
And she could remember the day they put them on the boat.
Well, what day was that?
Who brought?
I don't know. The slave, white folks brought them for slaves.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And taking them 6 months to cross over to come here.
What you say?
And they landed somewhere in Mississippi, Alabama, somewhere, but later on they shifted them to Tennessee. And from Tennessee to Alabama and Mississippi and things like that. And I think they got away from Louisiana somehow. And my mama's mama.
What was her name?
Her name was Mary Shine.
Okay, yeah. We don't want to do that because, yeah.
Wait a minute. No, okay, now start.
Back with,
Go ahead.
Price of money.
Sam Evans was working in the coal mine in Howe, Oklahoma, and he decided that he wanted to move my mother from Howe. You know, that was just a small place. It was a coal mine camp. And he bought this lot up there. I don't think there was over 30 cents a lot at that time. And he built this house. Bought the lumber and got different ones would come in there and hoping to buy it and everything. Well, after Mama died, the house just sit there and the tax went down on the house. And Sam left after he got sick, you know that. And after he got well, he left. He said he couldn't take it no longer. He thought he was going to die, and he left. And then Claude redeemed the house by paying the tax, didn't he, Bessie? Well, that's how come him to fall heirs of it. The rest of them didn't do it, but he did. And so he was there. But I suppose if all of them had have went in and paid the tax, it would have been all of them, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he had the papers and everything to that.
All right, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have any other papers, any other pertinent papers as to the family rights or whatever?
Well, now, I don't know about that. After, I don't know, I guess after don't know whether Sam had it all paid out or not. Well, after they'd taken it over, then if someone hadn't went and finished paying that out and paid the tax, well, I guess they would have got it all, wouldn't they?
I guess so. Now, I guess, yeah, they have a mineral rights to the property now, too, right?
I don't know if
They don't have the mineral rights. Who got the mineral rights? I mean, back in the days, now, they didn't have.
No, they didn't have that.
Now, nowadays, I know they don't sell mineral rights. But I mean, back in them days, what about that? What about the mineral rights?
What you mean, the oil or stuff
Yeah,
like
but
that?
that might come up now.
Well, now, they might have that now, but back in there, they didn't pay no attention to that. You was getting the lots for 15, 30, and 25 cents and all that.
So the mineral rights was normally yours anyway, right? That's what I'm saying.
And they said if you pay tax on a lot 30 years, it's automatically yours. Don't care who it belongs
So the
to.
mineral rights are automatically yours?
The land, the lot.
land.
You keep the taxes up 40 years.
Keep the tax up. Pay the tax.
I don't understand all these legal things. Well, I guess the mineral rights then is some minerals from on the property. Indian?
Not much.
It should be on the deed. You have mineral rights on the deed. If you don't, go back to the last one that said mineral rights on the deed.
Then you did a rug.
Yeah, they get mineral rights. Yeah. But a lot of times when you buy it now, they'll give you half of it. You can give it. You can buy half of it. They don't, most times they'll give you all of it. They might say half of it.
You know, the dude keeps saying it. It's all of it. And he says it runs right down. It right down by my house. That's what he did. The secret, that's where the thing runs. And right down here, the home is.
Come on, talk up louder.
Bridget, do you know when they were selling lots back down around in there for 30 and 35 and 40 cents and all like that?
We bought ours. 50 cents.
Yeah, you could have bought photo for $5. Uh-huh.
shows up a little more. But
Yeah.
the actual, what is the courthouse thing?
Yeah.
You go there and just be a quarter, a dime, and 50 cents inside.
In our
Wait,
church.
wait.
My mother's grandmother, I guess, wasn't it?
Talk up and Sarah.
And my mother's.
Talk up and Sarah. Talk up.
Wait, let me get this.
Oh.
And Grandma Mary was my mama's mama. And Grandma Mary was the one that couldn't talk like we talk.
She was there?
No, she wasn't deaf, but she couldn't talk English like we talk much. She would just stammer over it. You could understand what she was saying.
Was she a Frenchman?
Yeah, she was, but she wasn't like those from overseas. She was from Louisiana, down in that.
Okay, would you tell me, okay, what y'all, or what we are mixed with?
Child, they tell me. they tell me that my mama's mama was mixed with Port Indian. I don't know whether Cherokee, Choctaw, and then her mother was mixed with French, but I don't know what kind of French it was. What it was.
It's a Louisiana Frenchman.
Louisiana, that's what I can see. She's descended from Louisiana.
Was you mixed with Irish?
No,
that's mama. That's the Irish.
Not Irish. And then,
my dad.
when they turned them loose, they went to Tennessee or something over there, and that's where they got scattered up. And they scattered out from Tennessee when white folks let them go or something.
Okay.
I have a sheet of this wrote down at home. I can sit down and take time, and think. I can go to bed at night and think about it, and I get up and sometime at night put my light on when I'm there by myself and just write.
Sure, that's a valuable sheet.
Sure is.
Huh?
That's a valuable sheet of paper you got there.
A
valuable.
Oh. Well, if you lay in there and those things come on your mind and you can't go back to sleep, well, then you want to get up and do something. Mm-hmm. Then I'll get up and pull my light on, get my book. I got that old diary and then got another one, and go to write. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I'll go back to sleep. I'll go to dreaming. Then I'll have to get up and get my coffee, eat my breakfast, and maybe go on that way for a week. And every time I think about it, then I get up, I got all of them's aids and everything I want for Christine. I told her the other day I wanted to take it down there and run it off. She can run it off where she works about 4 or 5 sheets at a time, I think.
More than that. I like to get a copy of it. You know that, don't you?
Uh-huh. And got all of them's name, birth, and birthplace, and everything. And she said she's going to take it down there and run it off. And I got lots more other stuff there about all of them, and all of them's birth, where they was born, and all of like that. And one thing that there's 2 things that I lost. And that was my papers when Mary died and Ed died. They got burned up when my house got burned down. And I've been saying I was going to see Virgil, either Bessie. Bessie know everything. I said I'm going to see him and get that back again. Yeah. I like not long ago. He said, I said, yes, sir. You know one thing? I said, what? You older than what you say. What? You older than what you say. I said, well, tell me how old I am. I said, I don't know how old. So you older than what you say, because you about 86, I think he said. Is that what Becky told you?
Wait a minute. Stop.
Well, then the way I said it is 85.
Oh, okay. Then put it up there. I went there.
And the caseworker come in the other day.
Cut it off.